let's dive into step two. Once you have your story, your one thing figured out, you have the messaging for it, you have the right words for it, you know exactly what you need to talk about as you start getting featured. Now it's time to figure out where you should get featured. You can start with just one, and when it feels right, when the timing feels right, and you feel ready to go on to the next step, you can choose the next one and so on. We typically do it in tandem because the tools we have made it so easy for us to reach different places, different channels, and different platforms all at once with the same core story. That's the important part. Once you have that core story figured out, you can have a system that reaches out on your behalf to all of these different channels and platforms. So the first thing you want to consider, and actually the easiest way to start getting featured, is through podcast interviewing. You want to find the podcasts in your industry that cover the topics that you're specialized in and that accept guests to interview on their show. You also obviously want to find popular podcasts which have a larger audience, the kind of audience that you want to reach, so that when you interview with this podcast, that your story is going to reach the right people and they're going to want to reach out to you and learn more about what you do. And that's how you start to grow your visibility. So podcasting is the number one way to start getting featured. The second way, and something that actually kind of builds off of podcasting usually, are events. Now, the important thing is knowing which events to be at in the first place, but you want to figure out, just like podcasts, which events are covering the right kind of topics that you know you can provide value in. So again, coming back to that unique thing, that one thing that you want to be known for, that your story, your set of stories that sets you apart from all the other experts in your field, where would that story fit? Right? You want to know which events are coming up that are covering the stories that you know you have expertise in, because the people that attend those events are going to be the people that need your expertise. And if you want to be speaking at these events, you want to figure out what's the best way to apply to these events as a speaker. So if you are just starting out and you've never spoken before, podcasting, again, is a great way to start. You start getting comfortable in front of a camera, you start getting comfortable telling your story, and then you go to the next step, which is applying to speak at the top events in your industry. Okay, so that's going to be the second one. The third one is, if you enjoy writing, think about writing articles for third-party magazines and publishers. Now, how do you do that? Similar to, again, podcasts and events, you want a list of publishers and magazines that cover the topics that you are an expert in and need your expertise featured in their magazines, in their blog sites, on their publications. And then, of course, you need an AI agent or an agency, depending on what you have, or maybe a team member, to go out and find you the list of publications in your industry that are trending with your audience, that people are actually reading, and that need your expertise. Then you want to find the editors for that publication and know how to position yourself so that you can start pitching your story ideas, your article ideas to them. Once it gets picked up, you get to write the article and submit it to them and get featured that way. There may be a few rounds of that, but that's in a nutshell how that works. Now, taking that a step further, you may also want to consider reaching out to journalists and reporters, depending on the field you're in, to cover the news and stories of what you are doing right now in your work. Now, if all of this is sounding like Greek and you're like, okay, this sounds great, but how do I do this without an actual PR agency? I'm going to show you how to do it very, very quickly and very easily using deep research and automation agents that work in tandem together to do all of this for you, and you can be as hands-off as you'd like to be. Remember that the only heavy lift that needs you is diving deep into that story. So that's step one that we covered in the previous video. Step number two is finding all the right channels and platforms that would be excited to work with you and feature your story so that you can get your story out to larger and larger audiences as you grow your visibility. All right, so with that, we're going to jump into step number three in the next video, which is going to be something that we commonly talk about, which is content. So meet me in that video and I will break down exactly why your content probably isn't working for you right now and what you need to do to change it. I'll see you there.